was just talking to this with some other people in the room as well, and my tip would be just don't be scared to ask for help. I was a real one who did everything. Well, I did everything in my marriage. I felt like I never asked for help for anybody at any point, and I just think when you become a single mum, you have to ask for help. I don't have any family around me, so that asking for help really came from my school mum friends who aren't, they haven't been my friends for long, but you just have to reach out and get any help you can wherever possible. And I was like, I don't want to, why would anyone help me? But actually, I just suddenly one day went, I would help anybody. If somebody came to me and went, would you mind having Johnny for 5 minutes? Well, of course I wouldn't know. And I just think, nobody else minds helping, do they? So actually, you just got to ask. And I think that was one thing for me that felt really, really odd to do. But now I just do it all the time. Can you help? Can you help me? Can you pick so-and-so up from school? I've just got to go to this thing, And actually, people just don't mind helping out, do they?
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Just to second that, this morning, in fact, was the first time I asked a mum if she could take my son to school. I know they walk past my house, but I would normally never say it. But I thought, you know what? I did, and it was fine, and she was really pleased to do it. So it is a case of just putting it out there, and also I know asking for help is difficult, but I know for me personally, there was one mum when my son first started school, and I was a mess a few years ago. I didn't come across it. It was totally together. But in the mornings, I couldn't even face parents. And this one mum, who I won't single out because she's here now, but I will never be able to explain to her just how much she did for me, just to walk my son across the road from when I parked the car outside, when I could barely string a sentence together, because I just wasn't well enough to do that. So I took a chance and built this friendship, and like you say, we would all do that for other people without even a second thought, so why not? The worst someone can say is, oh, I'm really sorry, I can't do that, but definitely. Anyone else?
Well, on that same note, I totally agree. Asking for help has been learning how to ask for help has probably been one of the best things about becoming a single parent, because you don't have, if you've got the backup of a partner all the time, you don't have to ask for help as often, and so that's been really good. And for instance, in our little network from school, one of our single mum friends in this network had an operation recently, and she has no family in this country, and there was a rota of food, kids taken to school, for a whole week. A whole week. And everyone was really, the thing is that everyone wants to help. And it's like you always need to allow people to help, and then, and because I couldn't have her kids because it's been too complicated with my son's needs, but I cooked for her instead and dropped around, and that was super easy for me to do at the same time I was doing other stuff. And for her, that was amazing, not having to cook, for a few days. But other people were like, oh no, we'll have the kids, for one play date and the next play date, and everyone was happy to do it. So give people the opportunity to help you.
I'm just gonna go with one other question, and that is actually I'm gonna do 2 more questions essentially. What is the biggest challenge you face on a daily basis?
So I think one of the things that, so I'm coming up to 2 years being a single parent, and obviously I've had this kind of period of critical illness which has kind of put everything into perspective, not just for myself but like my immediate family. So in some ways cancer's been a bit of a blessing in disguise, because actually I've had more support than I've ever had in my entire life. And actually I think one of the things that there's you are holding all the emotional labour with parenting. So even if you have a conciliatory amicable relationship with your co-parent or ex-partner, the buck stops with you on a daily basis. It's still you that is carrying the main burden of the practical stuff and the kind of emotional burden of parenting. And I think not having that person to share that with, to just to be like, shit, I've had a really, I'm really struggling with this. Like my 6-year-old at the moment is understandably very unstable emotionally because of what's happened to me, and I'm holding her. I'm emotionally holding her, and I'm the only one that's doing it because I'm the main parent. I'm the resident parent, and it's really hard. And so it's hard to kind of do that, you know, day in, day out without that person on the other hand going, oh, I get it, it's really hard for you. I don't get that response. I get, well, what about my stress? And it's not, you know, I'm not slagging him off for, you know, he's been very supportive in lots of different ways, but I think it's the, I think the emotional labour of containing everyone around you and then looking after yourself, making sure that you are prioritising your needs. And I think, that's one of the things that I kind of find difficult on a daily basis.
The hardest thing for me is definitely that I have 2 children with very different needs and I am one person. And at school my son he's in a special needs classroom with 4 teachers, and almost everything they do with him is one-to-one. And certainly if they leave the school, it's sometimes 1-to-1 or even 2-to-1 occasionally. And I'm one person at home with 2 kids and trying to run a household and run a business, do all this kind of thing. So it sometimes feels impossible to meet 2 people's needs at the same time. That's definitely the hardest thing for me. But we manage. We do things really differently to other families. I do things separately with my children a lot. Which I've had to just accept that that's how we make it work. So the upside of my children being in different schools is we have different inset days. So I have to take more days away from work, but that's all right for me because I work for myself. But I've got days that I can do separate things with them, and then at least one day on every single holiday, a nanny looks after my son and I don't work, and I spend it with my daughter. And then my daughter does holiday clubs, so I can spend time. It costs a lot of money to do it, but I have to do it differently. Like I can't do it the way other families do. I know a lot of families that do everything together almost all the time, and we just can't. And I've just had to accept that that's the way we do things, and that's taken a while to accept that we have to do that. But it has been happening for over a very long period of time, and I'm more used to it now. And actually it's really, really nice as well. Like sometimes I speak to friends who never spend time with individually with their children, and I'm like, how does that work? I can't quite fathom it. But it's about acknowledging that the way you have to do things looks different to other people, and that's okay. It's not bad or wrong, it just looks different, and it doesn't, and other people might not get it, but they don't have to get it. And yeah.
I've got a real bugbear about bedtimes at the moment, and I feel like I'm a really bad mum for actually saying it, but I have to do it every night. Oh, drive me insane. And I'm tired by that stage, and because I want the house to be tidy by the time I've come down from putting them to bed at 8:30, and then I've got to do another hour's work. So actually, I know I'm pushing it and I'm pushing it and pushing it. So when I get up those stairs, I want it to go like clockwork. Obviously, it doesn't go like clockwork because whose bedtime goes like clockwork? But then I get cross, and then and it all just, and I know I'm doing it to myself at the moment, but I just could one night I just not do bedtime? Would that be all right? And I think that's the thing with me, and now I've got it in my head that. So I know it's my own problem that I now need to go back and deal with, but it's because actually there can be some wonderful moments in bedtime, can't there? But so it's allowing yourself to enjoy it, but just that thing of every single night not ever having somebody go, oh, it's all right, I'll just clean their teeth tonight, or whatever, and it's always the thing, isn't it? The buck stops with you about everything, and that's a very practical thing for me at the moment, but it is like, oh yeah, I'll do it again tonight, shall I? Oh yeah, it's just me.